Hey folks, how you doing? Let me know if you can hear me. Oh good. Yeah, Mark's just having a quick chat with Andrew and stuff, so he'll be joining us in just a few minutes. I'll try to keep you amused. um, and yeah, this is wrap up with MJ. I don't know if we might do a little Q&A afterward. We generally do, so it wouldn't surprise me if we had time. You think Cthulhu is the ruiner of focus? He might be. Alright, I think Mark's going to be over here in just a sec. Finished up his chat. I don't know if anyone wants to see me juggle Edric Cortesia, but I could do that sometime. Alright, here it is. Now let's make sure that it focuses correctly. The magic hand. How's that?
Oops, turned the wrong direction. No, it's good. Huh.
What looks wrong?
The orientation of the lights. It looks like it's more on Cthulhu, than me.
Oh, you're not in the center. You're right about that.
I've done a few of these.
Of course, I think it was focusing better like that. But hey, not centered. Okay, yes. Now he's centered. Okay, good. Good. All right. So without further ado, wrap up with Mark.
So another week, and boy, an interesting week. In the last few weeks, I've told you folks how much code we have gotten in. Boy, it has been just amazing how many changes and what our change logs look like. I'm really happy. I'm really tired. The studio is getting a little tired, which is to be expected. We've been crunching now for soft crunch plus this crunch for about 6 weeks. And the good news is the end is a lot closer than the beginning, which is a very good thing. And that's a lead up to telling you that next week we will have a very important update on beta. Why no update today? On beta, very simply, we're still getting stuff in and integrating it. And as you integrate a lot of new code, as anyone out there who's either a programmer or a programmer who's worked for a game company knows, that can be tricky. And we're going through the tricky bits now. So next week, after the team has had a couple days to relax, and coming on Monday and Tuesday, we're going to talk about everything we need to talk about before we talk to you folks. So, the good news. Again, we are getting so much code in and have gotten so much code in over Crunch that it's been wonderful. For those who have played in our very broken IT build right now, you can see that one of the reasons why it's a bit broken, the whole new character creation system, classes, are going in as we speak. So as that continues to be updated, well, it will be unbroken, which at that point, we can get everyone in and do some testing. And that's the big thing to keep in mind. Over the certainly the coming week, I hope we're going to get you in a lot to help test all the stuff that Ben has been working on, that JB has been working on, that the entire team has been working on, whether it's obviously the patcher, which is already in, but the character creation system, the various classes are in, starting to go in, the crafting system, ballistas. I know Rob and Dave were working on those today. So all of that is in and currently, well, like ballistas, being assembled. So that's it for the update. Again, everything is going really well. And early next week, well, I'm going to sit down here again and tell you everything, hopefully everything you need to know about the opening of Beta 1. And, boy, what else? Well, let's have an actual wrap-up and not just an update. So you saw, hopefully some of you saw the story challenge yesterday. That was a lot of fun. Fortunately for my pride, I won that because, gosh, I think if I gave you folks a chance to pick something embarrassing for me to do, it would be worse than what happens on the show Elementary, which is where I got the idea from. Every time in that show, Holmes needs help from one of his hacker groups. They insist that he does something embarrassing in front of them. So I am very happy that I did not have to do something embarrassing. You saw the newsletter that went out yesterday. Kind of long, and I hope you enjoyed it. Lots of good stuff. Update, going to go out today. Tyler is working on the user stories now. Max is editing the challenge story from last night. That's going to be in the newsletter, that's going to be in the update, as well as whatever else that I can get from people before we leave here this evening. What else? I don't remember if I said this during the week. The week is blurring a little, but as of earlier this week, all the hitching that we had seen in the game during the last test, all gone. Got to the root of it, fixed it, crushed. Performance also improved. My machine, rock solid 60 FPS, no matter what I was doing. What else? Oh boy. Biomes are moving along very nicely. May have some new screenshots. Tyler, I know, is working on the pine forests and some other things. We'll see if we can get some new screenshots from there into tonight's update. What else? Well, actually, that's good enough for now. I'll save the rest for the update. A lot of user stories have been updated, and we're really close to updating a whole bunch more. So that's it. Go to questions, and then I'm going to get back to work.
All right, hit us up with your excellent questions for MJ. End is a lot closer than the start. That's right, Andoria. Adric Cortesia asks, when will there be the final crafting dock? Prior to Beta 1 start or after that?
After that, because, well, I've made a few changes. I've added some things. I've got a whole new section I need to write, and I'll put that in the document and, post it on the forums. Actually, some of the folks who saw the Twitch yesterday got a sneak peek at what my spreadsheet looks like and what a substance table looks like. So I think the folks who watched the story challenge got a nice, surprise looking at how just deep and complicated even building a single substance material, is in our game.
Callistos asks, any chance of another way to back other than using PayPal?
Funny you should ask that. We are currently testing Stripe as another service, and we're looking at other options as well. If you have any suggestions, if you have something that is popular in your part of the world, because I don't know please let us know where you're from. I know here in the States, I've looked at all the major providers, some of the newer ones as well, and so far it looks like PayPal and Stripe have the right combination of coverage, experience, and as much as I hate to say this, stability, given how difficult PayPal's been in the last 2 months. But do let us know if you have a favorite payment gateway that we are unaware of that works outside the U.S., because we're always looking for better ways for you guys to donate to the game.
Colin94 asks, has the gilding system been worked on lately? Can you tell us more about it?
No, it hasn't. Gilding comes in after grouping. JB is working on that, and when he gets done with that, depending on what else he has to do, then we will work on gilding. Wanted to work our way up, of course. The idea is, in order to have gilding work properly, you've got to have grouping working properly. So when JB gets that done, then we'll take a look at gilding in guilds. In terms of design, the core system has already been designed. That's ready to go. It's just a matter of programmer time.
Raytix asks, we are having a discussion on the forum about logging of characters. Do you just consider logging a character in a keep under siege to be instant traveling?
Logging into a keep under siege.
Maybe logging out.
Do you mean logging out? And then, because if you left a keep and you logged out and you logged back in, I'm not sure how that would be considered instant travel, unless you're thinking that you log back in and that keep has changed hands. So, let me know what you think. Let me know what you're referring to.
Ronom asks, how's it going on the programming hiring front?
Let's see, I believe we're waiting to review 2 programming tests that we got this week. When our in-house recruiter and HR specialist, Anna, comes back from a vacation, she'll be screening another candidate. There may be one more on the way, I believe. Yes, one more on the way. So we'll see.
Raytex clarifies, logging out a character somewhere else to switch to an alt to defend that castle.
No, I don't consider that instant travel at all. I mean, if you, that's why you have alts. If your alt happens to be there, that's great. I have no problem with that.
Hit us up with more questions, folks. This is your chance to get MJ to answer stuff.
Oh, and if you haven't seen the podcast on Massively that I did earlier this week, you should certainly do that. Lots of questions, many of which came from our back crews. So, 2 hours worth of question answering by me.
You're welcome, Raytex. All right. We already covered that, Talking Mustache. Logan Mass wants to know about the state of classes. Are they in? Are they testing out fun?
No, they're not testing fun yet because we're still getting them in. So until everything's in that needs to be in to support the classes, you can't really call them fun.
Foggy says he threw all his questions to the Piercing the Veil. Myson Heath says, I'm curious about Beta 1 gift accounts as well. How is that gifting system going?
Hopefully. We are on the final stages of testing, and that for me is one of the absolute must-haves for Beta 1. We can't open Beta 1 until we've got gifting totally working. We have obviously a lot of people who bought accounts that come with gift tiers. Not being able to give access to the people who are supposed to have access to Beta 1, that wouldn't be fair. So hopefully next week it will finish its final stages. We got hit by some illnesses that have delayed the final testing of gifting, but hopefully that will happen very early next week. And if it comes through good, then that internal checkbox will be removed. But I can guarantee you we're not opening beta until we can make sure that everybody who's been waiting for their access to Beta 1 can have their access to Beta 1. That just, again, wouldn't be fair.
Foggy asks, the Becoming Challenge was quite unique for a community event, and I can't wait to see it finished. Any thoughts about when we'll do another live streaming event like that?
Oh, boy. So it's April. I can't say next month. I'm up for one of those anytime. It was a lot of fun. I think you folks had fun picking the story. I certainly had fun writing the story. I'm up for doing that, frankly, anytime. It's a good challenge and a good intellectual exercise for me. So love to do another one. That'll be up to you guys. Tell me on the forums if you'd like to see another writing challenge.
Colin94 asks, would you consider adding hybrid classes after launch, or wouldn't they fit the FPs of CU?
Oh, no. Hybrids absolutely. Not sure how it wouldn't fit the FPs of CU. Adding additional classes, as long as they can either, well, they have to stay within the balance of the game, meaning obviously we don't want to bring in something that's OP. But no, I want to have more classes. I want to have more races. In a perfect world, we do with Camelot Unchained what Mythic did with Dark Age of Camelot and what I wanted to do with Warhammer as well. I really wanted to bring other races and classes into both games. Obviously, we did with Dark Age, and I hope we can do the same with Unchained. I mean, frankly, that's part of the fun, right? Bringing in some new races, bringing in some new classes, giving you folks something more to do. Try different things. Try different mechanics that we can introduce that we can't introduce now. Well, we could try to introduce them now, but we don't have the time. So no, absolutely. Camelot Unchained is going to continue to, needs to continue to expand post-launch.
Doulos, Mark has not seen the survey results of the challenge for the other myths, so you can submit those again for the next challenge.
Yep, I have no idea. On the other hand, if you folks just wanted to start all over again, the Twitch voting and then the straw polling, that's great. Like I said, part of the fun for me is not knowing what you guys are going to have, or what you guys are going to surprise me with. And I always wanted to be, if we're going to do these challenges, I want you folks to have not a single doubt about how surprised and how challenging it can actually be. So, we certainly could go with what was already in the straw poll, but my advice would be, nope, let's do it all over again, so there can be no doubt that I had no clue what you guys were going to put me through.
Nanolak Z asks, when may we see Cube User Interface 2.0?
After we get into beta. The main game is our focus. While I would like certainly to make improvements and take some time for Cube right now, no. We need to get everyone who's been waiting for us to go into beta 1 with Camelot Unchained into beta 1 with Camelot Unchained. I think Cube is great. I think Cube is a lot of fun. I think Cube can be awesome. But to take resources away from Unchained and now to help Cube before we're in beta 1, no. Sorry. Can't do it.
Lotaween asks, will there be more than one respawn location for each realm when beta 1 starts?
I assume the answer is yes. I actually hadn't thought about it, so if you want to ask me at the end of the stream how many we have planned, I still can't give you an answer, but I can tell you about what the theory behind it is. I just need a second or two to remember what we had talked about.
Necromaniac asks, will a working physics stability system be part of beta, and will building be a part of it at all?
Oh, yeah. Hugely. Beta 1 is all about building. It's about destruction. It's all about the classes interacting. And good, I'll answer the other question right now, too, because they actually fit together. So, remember what we said about Beta 1 opening, that there were going to be safe islands and the main contested islands. The safe islands are for each of the realms to have a space where you folks can build. Really important, really important, really important. The ability of a lot of people to build at the same time, to even destroy their own buildings at the same time, is a great way to stress the system. And in order to do that, well, obviously you guys have to be able to do that. And so yes, building, destruction, safe islands. The main island, the contested island. That's where the three realms will be interacting with control of plots, plot ownership changing, people taking over things that belong to other people. All those mechanics need to be tested there. In terms of spawn points, depending on the size of the safe islands, there certainly will be multiple spawn points. In terms of the main contested island, we haven't laid that out yet, but there'll be certainly multiple points similar to the current map, where we hope you folks will be able to spawn safely in the beginning. And we know one of the things we're going to have to deal with is, of course, those two lovely words, camp spawning, to ensure that at least you guys can get into the game before you get into the game and move around before you could potentially get killed by people from the other realm.
Hyomner asks, have you come up with an idea yet of how long Beta 1 will last, given your increased knowledge of this via pre-crunch?
No, because here's the problem. One, whatever number I give you now is BS, which is why we're not giving you a number. Anyone who would look at an old school Beta 1 and say right now what that number is before we start it, it's not a great number. We don't know. When we laid out the numbers during the Kickstarter, we thought, okay, if we get X people, these are the dates we can meet. We knew we didn't get the kind of numbers that we had hoped, and we continue not to get the kind of numbers we hope. So at this point, it would be silly, foolish, again, BS for say, yes, we want Beta to last this long. And besides, for all the usual reasons of not having enough programmers, as well as how much time it would take the team to get the code in, there's also the most important thing, and that is we want to come out of Beta 1 with a whole bunch of things rock solid. Mainly, of course, building, destruction, classes. Crafting I'm a little less worried about than I am the others, because crafting will be easier to tweak. But we can't go into the next stage of Beta unless Beta 1 is fun. Unless those three classes, just as I've talked about before, if the first trio for each realm is really solid, if everything is working the way we hoped it would work and need it to work, and we're not going to rush into Beta 2. We're just not. That would be foolish. So, I'd love to give you a number. I really would. It certainly would be good PR and even better marketing if I said, oh yeah, hey, no problem. We're going to get to Beta 1. We're going to get X. It's going to take us X amount of months. Give us more money. Not going to do that. At this point, just as I said before we went into crunch here, we're not intending to crunch again. Once we get through this crunch period, I promised the team that we're not going to crunch for any of the other betas. We're not going to crunch for launch. So, let us get through Beta 1, and then we'll have a really, I hope, strong release date line, for where we think the game will be after that. But we got to get through Beta 1 first.
Raytix asks, will builders and founders still be able to upgrade to the currently available respective tiers when builder tiers will no longer be available for new backers? And there's just a follow-up. And will lifetime upgrade also stay available for them as well?
So the first one is yes. I'm treating the builders the same way I treated the founders. We told our founders that they could have longer to upgrade their tiers. Same goes for builders. It would be unfair to treat you guys differently, and so you're not going to be treated differently. So you will have plenty of time to continue to upgrade your tiers. Lifetime sub will go away at some point. It certainly will not be available at launch. You have my promise. Remember, saying promise on that. That will go away. We cannot go into launch state with the lifetime sub active. We've said that from the Kickstarter onward, and we intend to keep it. As to when, that we're going to figure out. It probably won't go away before the beginning of Beta 2, but it might. So we'll see. Depends how things go with Beta.
Mango Narango wants to know where they can buy such a beautiful palm tree.
I have no idea. It was given to us by the building. See, the building had it for an event, and they kind of like us. We're good tenants. And they also, well, they think we're fun. And I guess we are. And so they had a choice between throwing it out and giving it to us. They gave it to us. So we love it.
Odilvik asks, will Beta 1 servers have their realm stats or kill high scores, etc., be reset on a regular basis, or will they be persistent for the duration of Beta 1?
We'll be resetting. I mean, everything in Beta 1 gets destroyed. Characters will be wiped. We're trying to obviously preserve people's blueprints, but in terms of basic character stuff, yeah, that's just going to go away.
All right. Well, we're almost finished, folks, so if you have some excellent questions, I'll start looking for a nice one to end with. Sacrix, we kind of already answered that.
We can run a little longer. Are there a lot of questions, Max? Yeah, we can run
Medium.
a little longer. We can go for a few more minutes, guys. If there's a lot of questions you have, no problem.
All right.
You've been patient with us. I can be a little extra patient tonight.
All right. Then Sacrix asks, will you be redoing the hold dates for beta phases and release date year, since right now it seems outdated for new people coming in looking?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we can't change the dates on Kickstarter. That's all locked down. That's part of Kickstarter's, you don't want to say security, but it sort of is. That once the Kickstarter ends, we're not allowed to make any changes to the campaign info. Certainly, they wouldn't want someone to some unscrupulous Kickstarter to promise something there and then change the dates afterwards there. So that we can't do anything about. In terms of our website, yeah, we're gonna update everything, or any of our documentation. That will, of course, be updated.
Necromaniac wants to know about the crafting system. Will there be a soft version or a full version in Beta 1?
Soft? Limited? What do you mean exactly by soft?
Doulos asks, do you have any insight into the next steps for the first tasks after you kick off Beta 1, aside from some vacation time?
Yeah, vacation time would be good. In terms of the immediate steps, it depends what we get in for Beta. In some ways, we've already gotten some things in that we weren't, sure we're going to make it into Beta. So, depending on what the final Beta 1 list looks like, that'll determine what the team will focus on, afterwards. We could open Beta 1 and see all of a sudden, when we had so many people in the game for so long, that stability was bad. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No, but it could happen. Same with the combat abilities, the same with building. So to talk about what we're definitely going to work on once we get into Beta 1, no, let's get into Beta 1. Let's see how everything is performing. Let's get feedback from you folks. I mean, I know some favorites that I'd like to work on, but, until we actually get you folks in and playing in beta 1, I don't want to commit to what we're going to work on first.
Jelly07, if you have questions about combat, feel free to ask them. It's just that really specific questions about combat are generally better for Ben's streams, because that's what he's been working on. Silver Ghost wants to know if we'll be notified before the lifetime sub goes away.
Absolutely. That's the least we could do.
Yamner has a complicated question.
Okay.
Partly question and partly caution. Are you conscious of and making sure to take precautions to make sure that the fun and the type of fun doesn't drastically change from the end of final beta and actual release?
Yeah, I know.
He has
what
some
you mean.
context.
Yeah, I
if you
got
want
it.
to hear.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. There certainly have been a few MMOs that when you play the game at the end of beta, you're like, yes, this is great, can't wait. And then the game launches and it's like, wait a second, I'm playing a different game. Now, sometimes some of that is of necessity. Crafting is a perfect example. During beta 1 and beta 2 and probably beta 3, the crafting times on items, same with refining times, those are all going to be scaled down. They have to be, because you folks aren't playing the game or don't even have the option to play the game 24/7. You can't be in every day. Well, depends we're in beta, but most times you won't be able to be in every day. So having crafting work the exact same way it's going to at live would be an exercise in futility. It would be silly of us. So we're going to speed things up. In terms of other areas that could be changed from the end of beta to the time we go live, we're going to be really cautious about that. We know, and again, we've seen MMOs where it really is a different experience. Now, the good news, since this game is, sorry to keep going back to horizontal progression, as I do so often in these chats, but because this game is a horizontal progression game, because this is an RVR game, because this is a game without PvE leveling, a lot of the issues that you have seen in MMOs won't be the case in this game. We don't have to make the quests easier to complete. We don't have to give you more the equivalent of experience to level up your characters via the quest. We don't have to test that whole mechanic. And because the system is designed to be slow anyway, we don't have to speed it up too much, especially late in beta. So, yes, that's a great question, and we're going to be very careful. But do know some things are absolutely have to be sped up for beta, and crafting, without a doubt, is at the top of the list. Did you get an answer from Necro on what he meant?
Let's see. He just says as in not complete yet.
Okay. Yes. Oh God. Of course, it's not complete yet. Not even close. Having a complete crafting system by the opening of Beta 1, an old school Beta 1. Oh my God, that would be awesome. On the other hand, in terms of a lot of what's important to the long-term viability of the crafting system, well, a lot of that is in the refining is in, and actually things take time to refine. All the data for making and shaping and building the initial pass on it, that's all in as well. We are starting to work on actual voxes, so that in a very rudimentary state is already in. So as we move through beta, crafting is one of those areas that is going to improve greatly, but, and here's the big but, the UI around it, if there's a mini game around parts of it, that will not be in. That is unimportant to me. At this point, what is important to me is getting the data in, getting the systems working, doing everything so you folks can see how see behind the curtain, see the numbers, see how it feels time-wise. We know some of you will like it. We know some of you won't like it. But we want to show you. We want to show all of you what we're thinking. And that goes back to the question before. You will have an understanding of what it will take to craft in this game right from the beginning. You will see, at least some of the times, that it will take to craft. That is really important. Far more important than a mini game, even if it was an awesome mini game. Knowing what is going to be involved in crafting will also go a long way to assure our crafters, and this is a very important point, that crafting will not be for everybody. It won't be something like, MJ promised that crafting is going to take time, but look at this, I can do this in all this short period of time, and I can make all these items, and I can do all this refining, and oh boy, everyone's going to have a crafter all now because all it takes is 30 minutes and you're done. That will not be the case, and one of the things we can do to show you that is, of course, show you the numbers.
Do you want to take a few more?
Sure.
All right. Odilvik asks, do you think any of the team will need to go on a detox after the crunch to rid themselves of caffeine jitters?
I don't know about caffeine jitters, but I think the entire team could use a few days off. Crunching, even if it isn't a super hard crunch, takes something out of you. And the team has been great. I mean, you folks have seen it. You've seen us streaming. You've seen the cameras on. You see us here every day, during the week, sometimes on the weekends. You see the progress we're making. So, yeah, I think the team is going to, deserve some time. And unlike a whole bunch of developers, including based on surveys that folks have talked about, various trade groups, we're giving our people time. You need to thank the people who make this possible, whether it's backers thanking us, which is really nice, we appreciate it, but I need, and Andrew needs, to thank the team for their efforts, and that's one of the ways we'll be doing that.
Izaneris asks, are alpha testers considered differently to beta testers during beta? For example, more access, or are you planning to group alpha and beta testers together during weekend tests and the like?
So one of the things we've told our alpha testers, same with IT, we're going to keep the same progression. So who gets it first? IT. Yay! That's what these guys paid for when they bought their tiers. Then we go to the alpha guys. Then we go to beta. And then when we go to the next beta 1. And then when we go to the next stage of beta 2, it'll be the same thing. We have a pretty good testing rhythm here in terms of IT to alpha to beta. It works really well. The IT guys all get first crack at it, and then the alpha folks get it, and then the beta folks get it. And so we're going to continue to do it the same way, when we go to the final stages, of beta. And then when we go live, we'll do something similar again. This isn't going to change. We like this. We'll have a testing server, of course. We did that back at Mythic. We'll have one here too. But we also want to find ways of continuing to thank our backers, who have believed in this game right from the beginning. And that kind of access, that's one of the ways to do it.
Dulos OG asks, will blocks be crafted before the building happens?
Yes, of course. Right now, I think you can actually put blocks, buy a building for use when you build. And a little earlier today, Corey showed me something neat that he was working on with building as well, and blueprints. So we're in good shape there.
Radolphus asks, since items and materials have to be moved manually, do you foresee an entire style of players, similar to Red Frog Freight and EVE Online, transporting for other players to and from the front lines, or do you expect most players to do their own hauling?
Oh, I hope we have haulers. I hope we have people. I know of one of our backers who can't wait to try to be a hauler in this game. That would make me very happy if we have groups of players who specialize in getting stuff from point A to point B. Groovy, perfect.
Hellwire asks, can a single crafter character be skilled in gathering, refining, and making of items? So if a crafter is a sword maker, that character can gather the materials, create the alloys, and shape the blade.
Yes, but it's a little more complicated than that. Can he be skilled in all kinds of gathering? Can he be skilled in all sorts of refining? Can he be skilled in all points of sword making? Probably not. But can you do some of it? Absolutely. We've said from the beginning we're not going to lock crafters to specific subgroups. Now, could that possibly change if we were just overwhelmed by crafters so that there were just so many of them and not enough work to do? I guess it's possible, but it's very unlikely that that's going to happen during, certainly during beta. And I hope it doesn't happen. I mean, I certainly want to have a lot of crafters, but not enough that we would consider changing the system. But you will be, sorry, yeah, Max,
Okay.
But you will be subject to the same restrictions that combatants are, meaning that combatants also can't have every skill, have a high skill in every component and therefore every ability. That's unfair. Same with crafters.
Dulos OG asks, what is the temporary replacement for caravans until they go in? Super high crafter encumbrance, make giants carry your stuff, etc.?
Yeah, encumbrance is going to be, the way we get around it. We'll either have the encumbrance set very high or just the weight of blocks for encumbrance set very low. Either way, very easy for us to change.
Jaron Kala keeps asking, will the team be required to take the weekend off?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I did tell the team already, take this weekend off. I don't expect anyone to come in. We've, been hard crunching, and we could use a break. So, this weekend, I hope everybody uses it to relax.
Necromaniac wants to know, will blueprints that we make now or in beta be usable in the final release?
I don't know. I need to think about that. We've said from the beginning that we're not a pay-to-win game. And I have to ask myself, if we're going to wipe characters, should we wipe blueprints? Because you can argue if you don't wipe blueprints, you're giving some people an advantage when the game launches. So I am really torn about that. No pun intended. It's hard. Again, character classes, tunes, easy, gone. Blueprints, I don't know. I need to really, really think about it. There may be an easy way of just saying, yes, you get to keep all your cube blueprints, but you can't actually use those blueprints in the game. That way people like you, Necro, get to keep these great blueprints that you made for these amazing structures, and you can use them in cube. But that doesn't at the same time put you at a disadvantage or an advantage when when CU launches, other than all your knowledge about how to make these blueprints.
Do you want a kind of a wrap-up question?
Yeah,
or?
one more question is good.
All right. Well, here's a very sweet one from the man with no screen name. You've commented before on how much support you are getting from backers. Is there anything in particular that we can still do for you guys to help you out for this last segment of Crunch?
Just keep being supportive emotionally. You guys and gals have been great. You send us, nice notes. You send us coffee. You send us, your support via Twitch, via forums, via places like MOP. All that means a lot to the team. We all enjoy it. Everyone who sees, when we get a small gift from you folks, or just the words. So just keep being the great backers you are. Keep spreading, the word about how we're doing things differently here, how we treat you folks as our backers, how we keep you informed about everything, that's going on once we, believe we're in a state to tell you exactly what's going on. Keep doing all that. That means an awful lot to all of us. I am very proud of our team here. I'm also very proud of our backers. You guys, you folks have been lovely. You really have. Forget the occasional outlier who, just makes you wonder about about humanity. The vast majority of you have been so kind and generous, again, emotionally, spiritually, as well. And that means, so much to us. We thank you for that. We'll always thank you for that. And, again, that means a real lot to us. And thank you so much for that question. That's a really good question and thought.
All right, one more, done.
I don't know if we can top that. That was just great. Do you have something really good?
Well, Sacrix is accusing me of skipping his question, and other people seem to think it's an important one.
All right.
All right, one more question. Will you be doing everything you can to solve the problem of a poorly balanced or not perfect game when launched, where most games usually say we will fix it in the first few months of the game, then lose subs? Will you be focusing on making this a lot better via beta and targeted testing?
Oh, well, that's an easy one. Is that the question? Really? You were worried about? Gosh. So, I hate to draw a parallel from this because this will be some bad memories for folks. But if you look at what happened after War launched when I was still there, the first thing we did absolutely was focus on bugs. Remember? All of a sudden, lists that had been huge the day that the game launched, and I've talked about why that happened, and I don't see the need to repeat it. All of a sudden, that got fixed. So that was an important, absolutely important thing for the studio to do, and for me to do as well. And therefore, I insisted on it. That's important here. Do we want to launch with any bugs? Of course not. Has any software in the history of humanity that was more than Hello World ever launched without, bugs? No, not really. Anything complicated software-wise comes with bugs. So, I wish I could say we'll have none. We will. We all know that. On the other hand, will that be a focus of ours going forward, both through beta and, post-launch? Absolutely. You've seen, for those of you like Sacrix and others who've been in our beta or have been in our alpha and in pre-alpha, you've seen how, even though, like any other game, it does have bugs, our engine, our client and server code has been so much more solid than probably any true old school alpha you folks have seen. I know it's certainly better than what Dark Age was, during our early days, and same with Warhammer. So that's important to us. It's going to be important to us, and was important to us in pre-alpha, in beta, and will be important at launch as well. In terms of what else we're going to do. During beta, and this is one of the reasons why I said I'm not giving a date for, beta 2. We can't go into beta 2 until we earn the right to go into beta 2. We could call beta next week if I felt like it, and just say, yep, we're in beta, and that's all there is to it. It's a term that has been used, abused, misused, by software companies forever, or game companies certainly. We're not going to do that. We have to earn the right to be in beta. And it's the same for beta 2, 3, 4, live. So we are going to keep pushing and testing and being sure that it deserves to be in beta. As far as what happens post-launch, well, I've already talked about bugs. We also have said and committed to extender packs for the game. So those have to be in. Look, I've used this example also ad nauseum of how Eve and CCP took a game, how CCP took Eve, a game that did not launch well in the United States, and built it into one of the most successful MMOs of all time. CCP deserves a world of credit, or multiple worlds in their case, of credit for what they did. They believed in that game, and they kept investing in that game. They kept improving on that game, and it paid off in the end. Another example, actually, is Elder Scrolls. Unlike some companies that quickly cut support to MMOs after they did not launch maybe as successfully as they hoped, ZeniMax, and again, all credit to that company, whether it is Robert Altman at the top, or Matt Firor at ZeniMax Online, or even Todd Howard. I don't know if he was involved, or Vlaco, any of those guys who are the movers and shakers over at ZeniMax. They continue to support Elder Scrolls. They continue to allow Matt and the team to improve the game. A lot of credit to that company. Whether you love the game or not, whether you loved it at launch or not, one thing you have to, I at least in my opinion, acknowledge is the support that company gave to that MMO post-launch. They didn't just wash their hands and go, okay, it didn't launch as well, too bad, you're all fired. We want to do the same thing with this game. Do we hope we launch live as successfully as we'd like? Sure, we'd all like that. That would be a very good thing. But if we don't, are we going to just say, oh, no, we're done? No, we can't do that. We're not going to do that. That's one of the nice things about being a smaller team. We don't need, 1 million subs, 500,000 subs, 250,000 subs even, to keep the company going. So are our plans, regardless of how it launches, to try to make it better? Yeah, absolutely. We believe in this IP. We believe in the MMO we're building. We believe in our tech. And so we absolutely hope that when we launch successfully. But if we don't hit our numbers, are we going to immediately just shut it down? No, we're not. I'm kind of stubborn that way. And if I didn't believe already in what we're doing, we could shut it down. We could. Certainly Kickstarters have done that. We're not doing it because we do believe. And I think by the time we launch, I don't even think, I believe, I know that when we launch, I'm going to have the same belief in this game, in the studio, and in the support that I do now. So yeah, we're going to keep working on it. We're going to do what we need to do during the various beta phases to make sure that we earn the right to go to the next beta phase. And if we do that, I think we're going to launch well, and I think we'll have fewer problems than many MMOs have. And the last thing I'll say on this, and it's very important because some of us were talking about it today, because we don't have 5,000 quests, 1,000 quests, 500 quests, because we don't have so much content that we have to create between now and live, we can focus on what we need to focus on. And when you're making a large-scale MMO, and it doesn't matter whether it's Black Desert Online or Elder Scrolls Online or Warhammer Online, the programming team is pulled in so many different directions because there's so much to do, so many systems they have to work on, so many quests they have to work on, so much stuff that people need in order to make these things come to life, that it's really hard to get it all done with anything other than a ginormous team. We kind of don't have that problem. And so I think we will be able to deliver with better quality, with better testing than much larger teams have been able to do with their games. So in this case, size does matter, but smaller actually is better. So with that, I'll wrap up today's, what was going to be a short wrap-up in Q&A that turned into a short wrap-up and long Q&A I hope everyone has a great weekend. I hope those who are already enjoying their Friday evenings are enjoying their Friday evenings. Again, we're going to tell the team that they can have a couple days off and relax. And early next week, we'll have an update on beta. And that's it. I'll see you folks on the forums. We'll have an update for you before we get out of here tonight. And user stories will be included. And so that's it. And as always, folks, thank you for your support. Yeah, I could use a couple days off too. Thank you for your support, and enjoy your weekends.
All right, thanks for watching and listening and asking your questions, folks. We're closing off now, so see you later.